I guess Selena Gomez is showing us all the true meaning of the words, love is blind. Because oh boy, you have to be blind in her case. So my respect for her in the last months grew a lot because you have to have a certain kind of visual stamina to put up with her boyfriend. Now, all the sarcasm to the side, all the meanness neatly tucked into the cupboard alongside with my skeletons. What if I told you that there is an astrological reasoning for why Benny Blanco is not so easy on the eye, but at the same time, he makes her very happy. In the following clip, I'm going to break down the magical love synastry that Selena Gomez shares with Benny Blanco, and I will also talk to you about their long-term prospects. Hey Astro Fiends, welcome to the Spiritual Cosmos. I am Alexandra Macht, I am your host for today and a certified astrologer. Thank you kindly for being here. I do appreciate that my channel is growing really fast, all thanks to your support. In order to give something back to you, I am actually creating this entire analysis. I have listened to your comments, I have read your DMs, you have spammed me with a lot of communications following from my latest astrological analysis of Hailey and Justin Bieber's birth chart. I asked you towards the end of it if you would be interested in me looking into Selena Gomez and Benny Blanco's birth chart, and you all profoundly said yes, let's do it. So just to show you that I listen to you, I love you guys so much, and I want to give you material that could be astrologically inspiring but also entertaining for you guys. So in the following, I am going to show you Selena's birth chart, and then we will dive into Benny's birth chart, and towards the end I'm gonna wrap it up with some summary points by showing you their synastry chart and what I feel is going to be the potential development of their connection. I am not going to use a composite chart. I'm going to use only the synastry chart, which shows me what their energy is in the present, but I will use my intuition and my astrological analytical skill to make some predictions for you guys. Keep in mind, it's just predictions. What I say in this clip is just my astrological 2 cents. I don't personally know these people, so just take it with a pinch of salt. You are allowed to have your own opinions, and actually I encourage you to comment below and agree or disagree with me, but just keep the comments respectful. Try not to use any cuss words or any over empathetic emotional responses. Just keep it civil, keep it fun, and share some of your knowledge with the community that we're slowly building here. Thank you once again for your likes, for your subscription. I do encourage you to like this video if you have enjoyed it. It takes me such a long period of time to edit these clips, and even though I enjoy what I'm doing, it is always kind and beautiful to see that my work is in some way rewarded, seeing as at the moment I am not able to monetize this channel. I do need to say that I also kept in mind another piece of feedback. You guys have been giving me such constructive, lovely feedback, and I want you to know that I have been taking all of it into account, and I realized that I was speaking too fast when I was doing the astrological analysis. So this time I'm going to take my sweet time and deliver the content more slowly for those of you who feel that my speech rate is a bit too fast and that it's a little bit challenging to follow along. Without further ado, let's jump first of all into Selena Gomez's birth chart.
Selena Gomez was born with a sun in Cancer at the anaretic 29th degree. This is the final degree of a specific sun sign in astrology, and it is considered by many traditional astrologers to be an intense degree. It means that she is the most intense expression of a Cancerian that anybody can be. So she embodies all the good traits of being a Cancerian, but also all the flaws of being a Cancerian. Not only that, but Selena's sun is placed in the 12th house, traditionally the realm of Pisces. This is a very soft, giving, spiritual placement. This planetary combination makes her incredibly sensitive, imaginative, but also quite gullible and a little bit passive. She's been faced in her life with a lot of painful moments of having to let go of important things and people in order to move forward. And through this act of letting go of what truly matters to her heart, it's both a painful experience, but it's also a spiritualizing one that breaks down her ego over and over again. She can certainly harness the power of her deep emotions to create impactful art and music. So Selena's sun is quite close to her ascendant, and her ascendant is in the sign of bright and brave Leo. which is also conjunct her natal Venus in Leo and her Mercury retrograde in Leo. Now, her Leo ascendant gives her great hair and even greater stage persona. She comes across as passionate, feisty, and more confident than she actually is once you get to know her. Having Mercury retrograde means that she may struggle to put her deep emotions into words and that her thought processes tend to be a little slower because she takes in a lot of information from her environment. She's prioritizing depth over being direct in any conversation. Selena also has phenomenal intuition with these placements, but she could also easily fall in love with fans or sycophants, basically anybody who gives her plenty of attention and compliments her a lot. So there's a conflict here between her fiery placement, her moon in Aries, her Leo ascendant, and that Venus in Leo that wants to be in love with the best and benefit from the best kind of relationships and be adored by people, and her soft and sensitive Sun in Cancer in the house of Pisces, the 12th house. As her Venus, Mercury, and Ascendant are sitting in opposition to her 7th house, Lilith, conjunct Saturn in Aquarius, this means that she is constantly tested in her personal relationships and long-term business commitments by other people who relentlessly criticize her in order to improve her, to make her better. To achieve success in her work and to develop lucrative and powerful connections, Selena has to learn how to communicate better and how to sell her image. Having Saturn in the 7th house in Aquarius, well, this is a difficult placement because it shows an individual that's most of the time, if not constantly, bullied by her peers. She wants so much to be part of a specific elite group, but at the same time, that same group that she craves to be part of is against her for various reasons. Some of these reasons can be very petty and low vibrational. So having Saturn in Aquarius in the 7th house is a placement that shows that an individual was born with the feeling of being an outsider. First of all, in her own family, in her local community, and then growing up in the space of the family that she's creating, in the groups that she's working and collaborating with. This placement also indicates early childhood trauma related to a father figure. As a personal example, I can let you know that I grew up with a father who had a Sun in Libra and a Saturn in Aquarius in the 7th house. And unfortunately, my dad lost his own father when he was very young, and that trauma impacted him because he never had like a truly positive role model to kind of align himself with in his life. So my dad had to learn from scrap how to be a man and how to relate to other people. And that's again very symptomatic of the Saturn in the 7th house in Aquarius. Coming back to Selena, because she has to heal this wounded father image in her life, her chances of finding a soulmate early on in life and getting married young are actually delayed. Usually someone with a 7th house Saturn either marries young, and if they do so, then they get married to a karmic counterpart that makes their lives a living hell, and they need to find a way to resist in that marriage in order for it to gradually improve in time. Or the second scenario is that they get married at a much older age, and even with someone who may be older than they are, or somebody who is not so well liked or popular with the crowd. People with this placement can spend long periods of time being alone with no significant relationship in sight. Another interesting aspect of this placement is that it appears in the chart of a marriage of interest. That is, a Saturn in the 7th house usually denotes somebody who marries for money and social status rather than love and following their heart. I'm wondering if this is the case in Selena and Benny's relationship. I'll unpack this in the third part of this analysis. But for now, I want to focus on just her. And other significant fiery placements that she has in her chart, we need to talk about her moon in Aries in the lucky and blessed 9th house. Not only that, but her moon is conjunct her midheaven. This shows that the public has a positive image of her and that she's perceived as someone emotional, sensitive, motherly, homebound, vulnerable and talented. Highly feminine and sweet, Selena appeals to public sensibilities with this girl next door kind of vibe. Nonetheless, her moon in Aries so often gets her mocked by the public or rebuked collectively due to her spontaneous expression of emotion. For example, when she cried on camera because of the deported Mexican refugees, or when she didn't put work to improve her Spanish for her role in Emilia Perez. That was a classic Saturn in the 7th house karmic slap from the public, from the collective. And I actually empathized a lot with her because I saw her birth chart and I knew exactly what was happening and why the public was reacting in this negative way. If only Selena could have an astrologer by her side to hold her through all of the mayhem. But then again, this could be applicable to all of us, actually. We all need an astrologer in our lives. Coming back to her other placements, it's interesting that she has a Mars in Taurus in the 10th house, and I identify with that because I also have a Mars in Taurus, but in a different house. And her Mars is placed in the realm of public relations, social media presence, and her career and legacy. That's the 10th house, basically. And we see here again an intriguing mix of Venus, the ruler of the sign of Taurus, in a Martian placement. Much like her soft moon is actually placed in a masculine and fiery sign, Aries, also ruled by Mars. So Selena is a tough cookie at her center, despite how sweet and sensitive she may come across. This is actually a woman with very deep, passionate, sensual desires that she keeps under wrap. This is further amplified by her Pluto and Scorpio in the 4th house, a placement that gives her a taste for deep emotions, a lot of secrets related to her family line and cultural ancestry, and a sexy taste for dark pleasures in the boudoir. As we saw through her brief romance with The Weeknd, Selena has a particular penchant for bad boys, and she may unconsciously associate love and pleasure with a certain kind of pain or lustful desire for that which can destroy her. So judging just by this placement of Pluto alone, I can see that Selena has a little bit of a dark soul, a soul that requires careful and patient transformation in this reality, in this incarnation, if she is to fulfill all of her more pragmatic, physical desires. However, there is a tendency here to repress a lot of these desires, to sacrifice feelings over and above her work and business goals, as Selena was born with a Jupiter and Virgo in the 2nd house, ensuring her a lifetime of wealth and easy money or highly lucrative business deals. So a Jupiter in Virgo lets me know that she extracts a lot of joy, fun, and pleasure from working, from earning money. This is what gives her a lot of satisfaction. So in combination with her North Node in Capricorn and South Node in Cancer axis spread across the 11th and 5th houses of her chart, I see that Selena is someone who's slowly developing into a little bit of a workaholic business mogul. It's basically her destiny. This is something she cannot stop. No wonder she's a billionaire, works across 3 types of industries, film, beauty, and music, with almost equal success. Her chart shows the classic pattern of someone who's considered rich in financial and material assets, but deeply challenged in her personal connections and in the expression of her emotions. She has to learn to let go of being too attached to the idea of family, of being too emotional, private, secluded. She has to kind of step out of this trad wife, traditional maternal role, because these are all elements that pertain to her South Node in Cancer energy. She knows how to do these things very strongly from a past life, but her soul craves to individuate through hard work and effort. That's her North Node in Capricorn karma. One final thing to note is that Selena has her Uranus and Neptune in Capricorn placed in the health-related 6th house. This means that, unfortunately, for Selena, this is a lifetime of health-related issues. We all know already of her kidney transplant and of her lupus diagnosis. These are all symptomatic of this destiny points of hers. She's destined to have weird symptoms in her body, or sudden and unexpected changes in her overall health that will delay her capacity to work and put limits to her productivity. This is also in a way connected to her sun in Cancer in the 12th house. She needs to work hard, but also rest as equally. She needs to schedule in times of procrastination, relaxation, and low productivity if she is to come back to the public with her best professional self. Selena has to take everything in a slow, perseverant, and highly organized way in this lifetime. She has to find a way to stick to a strict daily routine and discipline while also enjoying her success and scheduling in moments of relaxation, holidays, and time away after concentrated effort. If possible, she has to find a way to transform her feelings into art, as she is destined to do some form of artistic or spiritual work, mostly because she has a natal Neptune in the 6th house. On top of this, with Uranus in Capricorn in the 6th house, she can also be a powerful chaos witch, working with chaos magic in case she needs an extra source of income.
And here is Benny Blanco's birth chart.
I have to admit I don't know so much about Benny Blanco, and the more I research facts about him, the more unknowable and mysterious he appears to me. He seems to have been mentored by Dr. Luke at the start of his career, which made me wince, since Dr. Luke has been accused of sexually harassing Keisha. One thing we know for sure is that despite his looks, Benny seems to make Selena happy, and he is also good for her business. He is a well-liked and successful record producer who produces hits for musicians. He also told the press he realized he fell in love with Selena when they were hanging out in the music studio, and that the emotions suddenly, and it seems almost a little bit conveniently, hit him. At that time, Selena was going through a difficult period in her life, but was also on a steep trajectory for public and financial success. So did Benny fall in love with her, Selena, as a person, or with her rising financial value, as he simply saw a golden and emotionally vulnerable opportunity with a woman near him? Personally, I think that the sudden and Samaritan love would be typical for a sun in Pisces, like Benny is. Pisceans, much like Virgos, fall in love with the potential of someone most of the time. They want to help and heal somebody more than they are focused on the real flesh and blood person. Unfortunately, we don't have any data on his ascendant, so I can't tell you in which house his sun is placed or what his ascendant might be. There are some clues that could get us to assume an ascendant. Since he is relatively short in stature and has a round physical shape, he could definitely be an earth or water ascendant, most likely a water ascendant. And if his ascendant would be in Pisces, he would have his sun conjunct the ascendant, which would perfectly account for his creative, boho chic, and rather sloppy way of dressing, his approachable demeanor, his round features with a strong focus on the lips, and overall his natural charisma. With a sun conjunct the ascendant, he doesn't have to be physically attractive to be confident and magnetic. He just is. The work is already done for him. In addition, having this ascendant would also mean that his first house may be slightly crossing into Aries, which tends to be the case with a late degree Pisces ascendant. And the thing that makes me focus on Aries traits in Benny's appearance are his curly hair and his rather greenish eyes, both which are typical features of an Aries ascendant or a first house person. Born with an intense moon in Scorpio conjunct Pluto retrograde, Benny is quite an emotional individual, which tends to help him in any creative, artistic, or spiritual endeavor. But this placement can also make him a suspicious lover, a rather controlling and obsessive man who likes to really be all over the business of his loved ones. This is especially so since his north node is in Pisces and his south node is in Virgo, so his comfort zone is acting like a Virgo. He is learning in this lifetime how to become more Piscean, how to be creative and romantic, and to let go of a lot of things, and also to kind of tone down the Virgoan traits of his character, which comprise a need to know, a focus on work, an obsession with health and order. In addition, having the North Node conjunct the Sun makes him a man who's slightly confused about his personality, but he's always eager to get to know who he is, and he can also be quite intensely self-focused. He may also attract the negative attention of the public and draw towards him a lot of criticism and disapproval. This is unfortunately the strongest marker of having your Sun conjunct the North Node. Nonetheless, his Jupiter in Aries at the final anaretic 29th degree, which again kind of shows a personality that could have a little bit of an inflated ego, this aspect of Jupiter is conjunct his natal Venus in Taurus. So Venus tends to tone down a little bit the more negative aspects of Jupiter in Aries at the final 29th degree. So Venus is conjunct his Jupiter not by astrological sign, but by the degree. Jupiter and Venus in his chart are placed very close by. This conjunction means two things. First of all, that he benefits financially and publicly from the women he loves. For example, in this association with Selena, his popularity has increased. Since he is together with her, people know of him. And B, he tends to be self-interested in matters related to love, preferring to focus on what he can gain from a counterpart rather than what he brings to the connection. He is quite brave and chivalrous at the same time. So, I'm not going to focus only on the negative aspects because there are some good qualities to having a Jupiter in Aries. Whenever he believes in himself, he is able to get things done. A Venus in Taurus is a good placement to have as it makes someone committed, loyal, and hardworking, while also knowing when to take breaks and to enjoy life. So Benny is a lover of sensual things, of food, of quality material, and he also enjoys classic and elegant beauty in the women he feels drawn towards. Now I wonder if he has something to do with Selena's rebranded sense of style, which looks like old Hollywood, sophisticated, elegant, and chic, as we saw from the public appearances she portrayed during award seasons this year. So it wouldn't surprise me if Benny also took a little bit control of her image and is influencing her fashion choices. This is also because her Mars in Taurus is conjunct his Venus in Taurus, but more on that in the third part of this video. With a natal Mercury in Aquarius and a stellium of planets in pragmatic Capricorn, which includes his Neptune, Mars, Saturn, and Uranus, Benny is certainly an intelligent man with a special talent for marketing and for devising lucrative business contracts. But the more I examine his chart, the more I find that behind that oh shucks image that he portrays together with Selena in public, they may very well be some sort of a business arrangement. What better way to increase his popularity and reach and get her to sell her new album than to convince the public that they are in love? And it seems like the arrangement is working so well that it is leading to a well-mediatized and expected wedding, which I'm sure is going to be packed with celebrity guests and some cheeky product endorsements. I don't know, guys. I may play the devil's advocate here, but it seems a little bit fishy to me that they are so obvious and so public with their love, when from my experience, if a couple is truly in love and comfortable with each other, they tend to be on the more silent and private side of things. They are so caught up in living out their love that they don't really portray it so often in the public. But I'm already getting into the next part of the video, which is about analyzing the romantic attraction and future prospects.
Okay, after this entire analysis, we have taken both of the love culprits apart. Let's get into a summary of all the interesting points that create their synastry chart.
Welcome to the third part of this video. This is going to be the relationship analysis. Before I proceed, keep in mind that this section is pure speculation and interpretation, as I don't personally know Selena or Benny. But I also want to say that the first thing I notice is that it will be near impossible for me to cast an accurate synastry chart without Benny's ascendant. I need both individuals' ascendants in order to cast an accurate synastry chart. So this is the first problem. The second problem is that I am not able to find any emotional links for these two. They have compatible sun placements, sure, as they are both water signs. She is a Cancerian and he is a Piscean, so they are members of the same water sun sign family. So they get along quite easily, organically. They tend to feel each other's way through life. They tend to have similar values and a lot of things in common from the point of view of what they believe in and the kind of vibes that they pick up from other people. So while this helps them have similar values and achieve their professional goals in similar ways, it's not really the most reliable indicator for a very strong emotional bond or an indicator for long-term commitment prospects. Furthermore, his Venus is conjunct her Mars, which indeed, it shows an obvious physical attraction, but one which mostly comes from her pursuing him, since Mars, the pursuer planet, is sitting with Selena, and Venus, the receiving planet, is sitting with Benny. So they have rather inverted roles in terms of who initiates sex and who wants to move the connection forward. On some level, I'm kind of feeling like getting married was her idea. His Mars in Capricorn is in a square with her Venus in Leo. So on some level, Benny is not able to truly understand Selena's romantic needs, and he may find her needs a bit too bombastic or dramatic. Benny kind of prefers hard work and efficiency over and above hanging out with famous friends, or splurging on gifts, a thing which may irritate her, as I see that Selena enjoys being seen and being generous with her loved ones. There is another indicator here that shows me that while there is a strong physical attraction between them, in time, Benny will erode Selena's sense of confidence and self-esteem. And this aspect is his natal Lilith in Leo is conjunct her ascendant, Mercury, and Venus. Following from this, we have the potentially most difficult obstacle to their long-term love prospects, and that is incompatible moon placements. To my mind, this is a make or break element in a relationship. Even traditional astrologers believe that for a successful marriage, there needs to be a harmonious sun-moon contact. While Benny's moon in Scorpio is supporting Selena's sun in Cancer and is also empowering his own natal sun in Pisces, Selena's moon in Aries is left to burn brightly on its own in a mass of watery emotions, and usually excessive water tends to dampen and extinguish the enthusiasm of a fire-dominant individual like Selena is. There is a saving grace. His Jupiter is conjunct her moon. This is the aspect that gives me hope. He makes her laugh a lot. He brings a sense of opportunity, optimism, courage, and confidence that makes her feel emotionally connected to him. So this aspect, his Jupiter conjunct her moon, is a really beautiful saving grace to the fact that her moon in Aries is not at all compatible with his moon in Scorpio, which means that they have different emotional needs, they have different ways of resting, and when they are in private, they tend to not find the same way to cook, and even their sexual fantasies could be very different. But overall, I tend to see in their synastry some aspects that favor Benny and stand a little bit against Selena, which means that this relationship benefits him on a public image and on a sort of emotional level as well, more than it does her. I feel that in terms of benefits, Selena benefits from this in a way professionally, as she found a creative manager that understands the emotional undertones of her art and what she is trying to convey. He's also a really approachable guy who is dependable and makes her laugh. And I think that is the core aspect of why she would like to have a long-term connection with him. Could very well be that although his looks don't really advertise him very well, and although he looks quite modest, he may be a very good lover in the bedroom, knowing exactly which buttons to press to give her a lot of pleasure, especially since with a sun in Pisces and a moon in Scorpio, he does stand a very good chance of being a really good intuitive lover. However, overall, I don't really see any lasting long-term markers, especially since Benny's Saturn, Mars, Neptune, and Uranus sit in conjunction with Selena's North Node in Capricorn. All this cardinal earth energy in her house of work. So not in the house of love, not in the house of physical intimacy, but in the house of work, in the house of health and pragmatic concerns. All this energy that he brings into her life speaks volumes to the potential of having had a lucrative business entanglement together and a situation in which he mostly kind of feels sorry for her, like he wants to take care of her, and she really wants a dependable guy that makes her laugh. It may very well be that they spend a couple of years together, but I do feel that in time there may be an amicable separation. And I'm saying separation because with all that Saturnian energy, there will be a parting of the ways. It's in some way divinely guided. But maybe, who knows, I'm too focused on the negative aspects of this connection. And keep in mind that it's kind of hard to tell without an ascendant for Benny. At least this is my impression of their synastry so far. I may change my opinion in time. Please chime in and let me know down in the comments, what is your opinion? What do you think? And what were some of the elements I may have missed or spent a bit too little time on?
Verdict is in, analysis is closed. Thank you so much for listening. This is basically what I have to say on the subject of Selena and Benny Blanco's compatibility. Thank you so much for following along. Thank you for suggesting that I do this kind of analysis. Before you leave, I would kindly remind you to please like this video, comment below, and subscribe, okay? Don't be a weird creeper on this channel. Just click the subscribe button and include yourself as a full standing astrological member of this community. I love to have you here. Also, I love to read your constructive feedback, so keep it coming, baby. Keep throwing those beautiful comments my way. One final thing to say is that I am a certified astrologer. I do offer astrological birth chart report services. I offer a love asteroids report, a synastry chart analysis for you, a family friend or a lover, even a celebrity. Just let me know and I will create such a synastry chart for you. It's all done in the name of my love for astrology that is never ending, and also because I find this content so entertaining and so fun. So if you feel like it, just get in touch with me. I'm here to provide you with as much of my astrological knowledge as I can. Okay, that's it. Bye!